All right. On Wednesday, over the last few weeks, two big stories that Victor has probably been thinking in his head, just like many people think. Number one, when would the D2 rankings come out? And then two, when is professional wrestler Roderick Strong going to appear on a wrestling show? I haven't seen him in forever, have we, Victor?
I'll be perfectly honest with you. The second question was not one of the questions that was burning in my cranium over the last few
Well, it
weeks.
was with a lot of people and wrestling fans. Well, we got answers on Wednesday because on Wednesday, two things made debuts. First, Roderick Strong made his AEW debut as he helped out his old buddy Adam Cole on
Baby.
from a beatdown from the JS, or as they like to call it, the Jericho Appreciation Society in All Elite Wrestling. Also on Wednesday, the rankings actually made a debut in Division 2. No alphabetical order. We have rankings. So, Victor, my question to you, with Roderick Strong and Adam Cole apparently back together there in professional wrestling, and now the
Yes.
D2 rankings, are these Division 2 regional rankings undisputed?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. And I will
All
explain to
right,
you
go ahead and
why.
expand the rankings for us.
Okay, so let's start with the Atlantic region. East Stroudsburg is number one. They got Westchester, West Virginia, Wesleyan, Shippensburg, Charleston. That's Michelle Cruz' new stopping grounds. Fairmont State, Stetson Hill, who represented the Atlantic last year in Denver, Notre Dame, Ohio, Kutztown, and Mercyhurst rounding out the top 10 there. In the Central Oklahoma, I mentioned they got a big doubleheader sweep last weekend versus Rogers State, the defending national champions. They come in at number one. Missouri Southern State, number two. Rogers State, three. Harding, four. Southern Arkansas, five. Oklahoma Baptist, six. Washburn, seven. Minnesota Duluth, eight. Missouri Western, nine. Pittsburgh State, 10. It's going to come down to how Central Oklahoma and Rogers State do in the MIAA conference tournament. If you recall last year, Central Oklahoma was in the same position. They got knocked out of the tournament early. Rogers State won the conference championship, jumped to the number one seed in the Central region, and the Hillcats rode that wave to winning their first national championship. In the East, the Delphi looking to be the number one seed once again. They are first in the first true regional ranking. Wilmington, Delaware, they're second. Bentley, third. Caldwell, Franklin Pierce, Georgian Court, Pace, St. Anselm, Malloy, and Bridgeport, they round out the top 10 there. The Midwest, Uvalde is number one there. Grand Valley State, Saginaw Valley State, 2 and 3. Illinois, Springfield, Ohio, Dominican, McKendree, Maryville of Missouri at number 7. Nazarene, Lewis, and Northwood of Michigan around the top 10. South Central, that's the only region with two conferences involved. Texas Tyler's number 1, West Texas A&M is 2, Colorado Christian is 3rd, Oklahoma Christian is 4th, Lubbock Christian is 5th, St. Mary's of Texas is number 6, St. Edwards is 7, Cameron 8, Angelo State 9, MSU Denver 10. Now it's important to note in the Lone Star Conference, the top 8 teams make the conference tournament. So if you're Angelo State and Cameron, you likely need to get into the conference tournament to give yourself an opportunity to get into that top 8. If you're MSU Denver, you're going to need to win the RMAC and knock out Colorado Christian in the process, or make a deep run, try and get yourself in that probably 7 or 8 seed in the South Central. The South region, Tampa, unanimous number 1 in the nation, number 1 in the South. St. Leo, number 2 in the Sunshine State Conference, number 2 in the South. Those two are going to be having a huge series in Tampa this weekend that could decide the Sunshine State Conference championship and potential regional seeding and hosting rights. Alabama Huntsville, who clinched the regular season title with the 1 seed in the Gulf South, they are 3rd. Valdosta State is 4th. Mississippi College 5th. Nova Southeastern 6th. West Alabama is 7th. That is important because I stress again, Division 2 in the South region, the SIAC champion will get the automatic bid. And since they're outside the top 10, they're going to be number 8 seed. So if you're Auburn Montgomery, you're going to need to make a deep run in the Gulf South tournament. And if you're Embry Riddle and Florida Tech, who are 9 and 10, you're going to need a lot of things to break your way just to try and get yourself into that number 7 position. The Southeast is the region I'm going to be keeping my eye on the most. North Georgia's number 1. Wingate's number 2. Lenore Ryan is number 3. Columbus State is number 4. I'll explain why that's important in just a moment. Carson Newman is 5. Francis Marion 6. Lincoln Memorial 7. Catawba 8. King 9. Newberry 10. Now in the Southeast area, North Georgia, Columbus State are co-Peach Belt champions. But because Columbus State went on the road and beat the Nighthawks 2 out of 3, Columbus State is the 1 seed. Now, how they have the conference tournament is they have 2 4-team double elimination brackets. So 1A, 4, 5 are in one bracket. That's the Columbus State bracket. 2, 3, 6, 7 are in the second bracket. That's with North Georgia. I highlight all of this on Tuesday. Again, watch it on our YouTube channel so you get the full understanding. Why that's important. If Columbus State and North Georgia meet for a conference championship, it'll be a best of 3 series hosted by Columbus State because they had the head-to-head tiebreaker. I think if Columbus State beats North Georgia 4 out of 5 times, or 4 out of 6 times, if they go to full 3 games, that should put Columbus State at the very worst at a 2 seed in the Southeast, potentially, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, potentially jumping North Georgia as the 1 seed. It will be tough because Columbus State, they have a 39-12 regional record. North Georgia 48-5 in regional record, but just something to keep. So, and finally, we wrap it up in West. Concordia is number 1. Simona State is number 2. San Bernardino is 3. Dominguez Hills is 4. San Marcos is 5. Northwest Nazarene is 6. San Francisco State, number 7. Biola is 8. Azusa Pacific, number 9. And Monterey Bay, number 10. And keep in mind, the Pac-West will be having their first annual conference tournament taking place next weekend, hosted by Concordia, who will be the number 1 seed. And then you got the CCA with their double elimination bracket, where 3 and 6 and 4 and 5 will play at a single game elimination. So those teams who are on that bubble will have to win that game and get themselves in the double elimination bracket. So a lot to get to. The conference tournament starting in earnest this weekend, and a bulk of them going next week.
All right, let me ask you some questions as we take change over here. I want to keep it on the West. Northwest Nazarene at number 6. What is their outlook here? Can they sneak into the tournament? What do they need to happen?
If you're Northwest Nazarene, it will be in your best interest to win your league tournament. And right now, if you're Northwest Nazarene, and as I kind of analyze everything, Northwest Nazarene, they are. It's one of the. It's a situation with Northwest Nazarene where, of the three conferences in the West region, they probably play in the weakest of the 3, which is unfortunate. And I'm referring to in the Western Conference. How about the GNAC, the Great Northwest Athletic Conference? Now, they already clinched the regular season championship. They're already going to be in the conference tournament. The question is, who's going to be in the tournament with them? St. Martin's, Western Washington, Western Oregon. And if you heard me read the West rankings, they're the only team in that conference in the West Regional 10. Translation: if someone other than Northwest Nazarene wins the GNAC, they get the automatic bid. Northwest Nazarene could be out, or if Northwest Nazarene is in, could it be at the expense of a San Francisco State, 7 right now in the region? Could it be at the expense of a Biola, who's the number 8 team right now in the region? If the Pacific makes a deep run in the conference tournament, they're number 9. It's a lot of moving parts. That's why it's important for Northwest Nazarene to win the conference tournament, get the auto bid. That way you can rest the selection morning.
All right, so that's the story on the West question I had. Now let's go to the other question I have, and let's go to the Southeast, excuse me, because you mentioned the North Georgia Columbus State situation. Columbus State is 4, and yet you think they can make this big jump. It feels to me like North Georgia, despite the head-to-head that you're talking about, has a large gap. My question is, do you think how much does head-to-head matter to Division II in these rankings? We've talked a lot about D1 and controversial, whether how much it, should it matter more? Should it not matter as much on the D1 side? How much does head-to-head matter in Division II, Victor, when it comes to these rankings?
If the teams are close, I feel head-to-head should make a bigger difference. Now, what helps out North Georgia are these two factors. One, North Georgia has the #1 RPI in the South region at a 606. Columbus State comes in at a number 5 with a 575. Secondly, North Georgia, they're 20-5 versus teams with winning records. Columbus State 15-9. The only two things that Columbus State has on North Georgia, one, they play a slightly stronger strength of schedule than North Georgia, and the fact that they went on the road and beat them head to head. That's why I'm stressing. They have to play North Georgia in the conference tournament, the conference championship series, best 2 out of 3, hosting as a 1 seed. They have to beat North Georgia again. That is the only circumstance I can see Columbus State making that jump 4-2 at the very least and getting themselves a shot to host it. Southeast region.
All right, and then of course the matchup that everybody will be paying attention in Division II this weekend down in the Tampa area, Tampa St. Leo. Huge ramifications. Conference championship on the line. The 1 versus 2 in the South. Let me ask you this: do you remember the last time the South has had a 1 versus 2 in the regional rankings in the regular season, like we're about to have? Well, with Tampa and St. Leo, I don't remember one.
In the time I've been following and broadcasting Division II softball, I can never recall in the regular season 1 versus 2 playing. And here's the significance, Eric. As far as I know, since we started the super regional era, the Sunshine State Conference has never had the 1 and the 2 seed.
Wow.
Never. It's always been the Gulf South Conference either being having the 1 or the 2 seed, or the Gulf South and the Sunshine State Conference splitting. But never have they had the 1 and the 2 seed at any point in time. This is why it is important for St. Leo. I think for St. Leo, if St. Leo wants to win the conference championship, and I highlighted this on Tuesday, they have to run the table. So they not only would they have to sweep Tampa to get the head-to-head over tie, I think they have to sweep Rollins as well. And they end the regular season at home versus Rollins. Tampa ends the season at Lynn. Tampa, if they win the series, they just win 2 out of 3, they clinch the Sunshine State Conference Championship. They get the automatic bid. And in my humble opinion, that clinches the #1 seed for them in the South, regardless of what happens the final weekend of the season.
All right, let me ask you this. Does the loser of Tampa St. Leo series stay at 2 or stay in the top 2? Let me just phrase it that way. Or do they drop behind Alabama Huntsville as early as next week?
If it's St. Leo, I think they drop. If it's Tampa, I think they stay at 2, because if you look at Tampa's resume, look at their strength of schedule, it's higher than St. Leo's. The biggest thing, they both split doubleheaders versus Valdosta State. St. Leo did that at home. Tampa went to Valdosta and split that doubleheader. That's the one thing that you're going to have to keep in mind. Also, Tampa, RPI, #1, 637. St. Leo, #3, 609. Tampa, St. Leo, strength of schedule, nearly identical. St. Leo, 542 strength of schedule. Tampa, 541. St. Leo, 18-6 versus ranked opponents in Division II. Tampa, 17-2 versus ranked opponents in Division II. So the margin is very thin. That's why the winner of this series gains a huge advantage. And if you're St. Leo and you sweep the #1 team in the nation on the road and you win the conference championship.
What if they win 2 out of 3, though? That's still just as it's still impressive, right?
It's still impressive, yes. But here's the thing. If they go 2 out of 3, they still would need Tampa to stumble versus Lynn, and they would have to sweep Rollins to win the conference championship. It's been done before where Tampa's had to play Lynn And somebody needed help to get the conference championship. Now, back in 2014, Tampa lost the senior day finale versus Lynn, and Rollins snuck in the back door, swept Palm Beach Atlantic, and won to share the conference championship that year. So it's been done before, but Tampa didn't have the offense in 2014 like they have in 2023. So that that's going to be a fun series to follow. If not for broadcasting obligations I had this weekend, I'll be in Tampa probably watching that series.
If you're Les Studerman in Alabama Huntsville, what do you need to root for to move up into that top 2 seed and host and jump either a St. Leo or Tampa situation?
The only thing that you can control as Alabama Huntsville is just making sure you golf stop. You already got the regular season championship locked up. You got the number 1 seed locked up. I think if you win the golf stop tournament, you're gonna jump to the number 2 seed. I at the very worst. Just make sure that you don't stumble before the conference championship, and you win the conference title, you get the double dip. I think you'll get the 2 seed.
And the Sunshine State Conference does not have a tournament. Is this a scenario, another example, Victor, where the Gulf South will have the advantage on the final weekend, where Huntsville, if they were to win the conference tournament, granted it's a tough gauntlet, but if they win the tournament, they probably are going to jump either a St. Leo or Tampa, whereas St. Leo, Tampa really can't do anything about it. Is that pretty accurate?
Absolutely, because you look at St. Leo and Alabama Huntsville. St. Leo 36-6 in region, Alabama Huntsville 35-6 in region. And St. Leo and Alabama Huntsville will have presumably tougher competition in their final weekend of the season, in their final weekend in the conference tournament. At St. Leo, they will host Rollins, a team who's not even in the top 10 right now. And again, not having a conference tournament, hurts teams like Embry-Riddle, hurts teams like Florida Tech, who are 9 and number 10. Because as I pontificated earlier in this segment, you would need a lot of chaos to happen in front of you, 6, 7, and 8, in order for you to potentially jump in. And here's the other thing. If you're Nova Southeastern, you're no sure thing as the number 6 seed. As long as you need to keep winning and hope that West Alabama or Auburn Montgomery or both go 0-2 and barbecue in the Gulf South tournament to feel a little more secure come selection.
As we've known in the past, especially in this particular region, anything is possible and can happen on a Selection Monday, as we will document in the near future of a special D2 Tuesday. Vic's been ducking it. He's been trying. He's like, no, I'm sorry. I got to work with them. You haven't been able to record it. But we're approaching the 10-year anniversary of one of the most controversial Selection Mondays in the history of Division II, when many believed that Rollins was in, only to find out they were not. We'll explain on a future D2 and through Victor's eyes. And to me, what is one of the most infamous days that we've ever done. I cannot believe that day.
This is pre-podcast. This was 3 years before In the Circle was even.
It's a good thing. Let me tell you, it is a good thing there was no podcast, because if we probably would have done the live show, and I don't think your reaction would have been appropriate for that podcast.
It would have been suitable for television, radio, cable, satellite, podcast, satellite radio, any sort of entity.
Oh my goodness!
Streaming wise,
just listening, just hearing. We'll describe the reaction from Vic on this special edition. You're not going to believe it. That in its worth is worth tuning in.
Yeah,
it's one of the many reasons why you have to have the YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel In the Circle, sir. Plus, let's just go ahead and let people know what we're going to do in the YouTube channel coming up here, Victor.
Okay. Can we tell?
Let's give the audience a chance.
Hold on. Wait. I got some music or we have like a major announcement. Can we hit that? Can we hit that button right here, please?
That's correct. That's right. Yes. On Monday night, that's the softball this weekend. Monday night, Tennessee at Arkansas. SEC Monday night. Should be a good one, 7 Eastern. We will do a watch-along of Tennessee and Arkansas. A watch-along. We will watch the game with us. We will talk softball. We'll talk about what happened to the weekend in Division I. Maybe a little bit of a D2. We may have some surprise guests. Who knows? Tune in with us Monday night, this upcoming Monday, as we will watch Tennessee and Arkansas on Monday night. In that one, it should be a big game there. Tennessee and Arkansas, good matchup there. And you and Vic, you and I will get to watch the game a little together, Vic.
Yes, it's going to be a. Let's just and I kind of find it like fitting here that it's going to be the first. It's the first month. It's the 1st of May that we'll be doing this, and I have a very bold prediction. This will not be the last live stream that we'll be doing.
That's right, folks.
That month.
Tune in to us because unlike Roman Reigns, we do show up on Monday nights.
Yes, we actually show up to work.
All right, and with that, we will wrap it up. Make sure you check out the podcast. We had, of course, Kelly Gatwood on In the Circle. It's also on our YouTube channel. If you're watching this particular segment, it's on our YouTube channel, as is my interview with Gray Robertson. Plenty of the interviews on podcast feed as well as on the YouTube channel. For Victor Anderson, I'm Eric Lopez. Thanks for tuning in and watching, depending on how you're doing it, either listening or watching, to In the Circle.
I wish I had a Canadian flag when I'm saying this. Good night, Canada.
Have one ready by Monday.